What's going on, Hampton Roads? It's Trey Walker, and I'm here once again with the one and only D.
Hey.
And we are here for part 2 of what's on the ballot. So if you guys didn't tap into the first part, we're essentially just going over everything that will be on the primaries for this upcoming election in August. We are breaking things down by the districts of Virginia as well as political parties. So I would like to say the first part I think came out really well. We went in depth with all of the candidates that will be on these primaries, and it's very different for each district. So you really have to be paying attention. So we are just going in depth with everything. We want to give you guys as much information as possible, but we also want to point you in the right direction for these resources and making sure that you guys are doing your due diligence for these primaries in preparation for November. So on the previous episodes of what's on the ballot, we did districts 1 through 5. So now during this segment, we are going to be covering districts 6 through 11, and some districts don't even have primaries. So it's,
They said canceled.
cancel the
This
whole
is who you
thing.
voting for.
And you gonna like it. You're gonna have to
Period.
deal with it. So we still have information to give you guys, but it may not be as long as the previous parts. So D, are you gonna kick us off with district number 6?
Yes, but before we do that, we got to give them a little countdown. That's why I made that face. That's why I made that face.
Got you.
So we are 25 days away from the primaries. That's 4 weeks. 4.
Lock in.
4. Not even 4 full weeks. It's 3 weeks and a few days. 3 weeks and 4 days. And we're 116 days away from the general election. So, we still have some time from the general election. But if you really want your voice heard, you need to be at that primary election or voting early. And we have 14 days. So we're only 2 weeks away from the mail-in ballot deadline and for you to register or update your registration before the primaries. And early in-person voting is from right now,
At this very moment.
like right now, until August the 1st. So find your early voting space. It's most likely not the same as your usual voting area. So you have to remember that too. Your voting spaces are going to change depending on not only the vote that's happening, but also whether or not your office offers early in-person voting, because all voting offices don't actually offer it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely lock in, just see where this voting information, how it pertains to you, because it's very individualized. And just a little caveat, because I did some research, and I like to take back the things that we do in the radio station. I take it back to my parents. We be talking all the time. So we were just talking about what our voting districts are. And actually, we are in District 2, because you remember how Chesapeake was kind of cut up weird in a weird way. So I asked my parents, I said, hey, do y'all know what congressional district y'all are voting in? And my mom was like, no, but I could take a look at my ballot and see. And then my dad was like, yeah, we're going to take a look. And we landed on District 2.
So you're in the district with me. Well, for now, until I move.
Right.
Yeah.
So this isn't just for show. This is, something that we live, and even outside of our recordings and outside the radio station, I like to take this back to my circles and get everybody involved as much as possible. And I know D likes to do the same. So yeah, this is just something that we want to give to you guys so that you can, get those practices as well and kind of do what you got to do and make your voice heard.
So like Trey said earlier, some of these districts are not having primaries. Like, they canceled. Not having it. These are who you voted for in November. So District 6 is currently represented by Ben Klein, who is a Republican, and he has been representing District 6 since 2019. And according to his website, he has 12,016 cases closed, which I'm assuming that means like people sent him letters and things, and he took those letters to the floor, to Congress, and like they solved those cases. That's what I'm assuming that means. He said that he has received 415,479 letters and emails. I feel like it's a very small percentage. Like, if you solve 12,000 of those, is that a small percentage, Trey?
On the smaller side, I would argue, to be honest.
Let's see.
And then while D is looking that up as well, the areas that are covered in District 6 of Virginia, just for reference, are Roanoke, Harrisonburg, and Winchester, as well as most of the Shenandoah Valley. So that's just something to keep in mind as well when we're talking about that part of Virginia.
Yeah, so that's about 30%, less than 30%. But maybe that's not what he means by cases closed. Is he a lawyer? He's also attended 2,192 events, and he says that $21,752,147 has been returned to constituents. But if this was a resume, I would throw it out. Because what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. But also, I'm not in that district, and I wouldn't be voting for a Republican in the first place. So, for you guys that are Republicans and are voting in District 6, what is Ben talking about? Can you let us know? One good thing that he is doing, though, he is supporting the disaster designation request for Virginia's agricultural industry. If you guys didn't know, we are experiencing a drought right now. And people think that, oh, well, it just rained. It's not raining enough, babes. It is not raining enough. It's too hot. The crops are dying.
Mm-hmm.
They're burning. It's feeling like California over here.
Listen, and then I keep saying, because I'm a rain person. This is a quick tangent. I'm sorry. I'm a rain person, and when I see the forecast is gonna be rain, I get excited. I get geeked.
Right.
But then the day it comes, maybe like 2 drops of water.
Yeah, it
fall on the
rains for like
ground.
20 minutes, if that.
And I'm like, y'all ain't real rain
Like,
enjoyers
this is
for real.
not.
Y'all don't do this.
I was driving on my way, and I was like, I just know somebody's at the oceanfront upset that it's raining, but it's literally gonna stop in like 10 minutes. So back to what we supposed to be focused on, because we said we weren't gonna go too long.
We
went on
did. We
tangents.
did.
So our next candidate is Beth Macy. So like we said, no primary. So if you are in a Democrat primary, or if you just want to vote for the Democrat, you will be voting for Beth Macy. But I believe you can also still do a write-in.
You could,
But that probably won't do much.
it won't.
So
Respectfully, it won't.
I understand, but like, unless you have a good organized tens of thousands people, don't do a write-in.
It gives very much 2016 presidential elections where people were writing in Kanye West,
Harambe, what are we
Harambe,
doing?
all that stuff.
We should have known then that we were cooked.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, write-ins, you have to be very organized with how you do write-ins.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying, is that, if you write in your own candidate, if it's only you, this is something that we also emphasized. Your vote only counts as one. So, just keep that in mind.
So Beth says that she never planned on entering politics. She's actually not from here. She's from Ohio, which isn't a surprise. I see a lot of, especially here in Virginia, a lot of people that are in Congress aren't from Virginia or from the state that they're representing. So not a surprise, not a surprise. But she says that throughout her career, she has stood with outsiders and underdogs. And her district deserves a representative who understands what families are up against. And she says that she will be a person who holds the powerful accountable. I wonder how she plans on doing that. So she has been endorsed by Governor Spanberger. She's also been endorsed by former city council member Anita James Price. And she has been endorsed by Roanoke Mayor Sherman Lee Sr. So she has some strong endorsements.
Got some strong names behind her. So we'll see how the elections go for District 6 when we get to November. So
wait, hold on. I just saw a little bit of a mess, because I like to call out the messy stuff. So at the bottom of her page, it says, quote, Beth Macy is a Democrat running for Congress in Virginia. She is an author and a longtime Roanoke resident running because Ben Klein has failed his constituents. Support her campaign by making a donation today, end quote. I like that. I like Beth. I like her marketing team.
You say, you know what? Keep it up.
I'm gonna give her $1. You know what? I'm gonna make a donation. All right, Trey. Now let's go ahead and talk about District 7.
Got you. So with District 7, we are looking at the northern and central portion of Virginia. This includes cities like Fredericksburg, some towns like Bowling Green and Culpeper, according to Wikipedia. So with District 7, the Republican Party is the party that will be having primaries. So whoever wins this primary for the Republican Party will be going against the incumbent Eugene Vindman, who has been serving in this district since 2025. So he's still relatively new in this district, but the people for the Republican Party, we have three that are running in these primaries. So we have Philip Harding, Rick Smithers, and Douglas Oliphant, or Oliphant. My apologies if I get your name wrong. So starting off with Philip Harding. So Philip, he is an entrepreneur, very business focused, and he's dedicated to helping people live out their purpose and create meaningful change. This is all per his website. He covers like a variety of issues that he plans to focus on. He has three main points that he addresses for his issues. Number one being build together, number two being to strengthen family, and number three to attack the debt. So I'm just doing a little bit of perusing, and with the build together, he's basically addressing the economic hardships that families have to, come together now to kind of get ahead in terms of finances. Costs are rising, but wages aren't. So he's trying to tackle that issue and then strengthening that family dynamic. He wants to focus on challenges that are facing society. Again, this is all per his website: rising crime, economic instability, struggling schools, mental health crises, and the breakdown of communities. So he believes that strong families are the foundation of a strong nation, and the focus should be to strengthen families because, in turn, you will strengthen said nation. And then on the third point is attacking the debt. So, from what I'm just gathering from perusing his website, he's very critical of the government and how they handle finances. So he wants to crack down on that a little bit and make, the government be more accountable with how they spend their money with more discipline and responsibility and having families and businesses in mind. So very economic heavy in all of his policies.
Is that why his website looks like that?
We were talking about his website when, when we were doing our research. It
It's
Yeah.
very distracting. If Philip or his constituents are listening to this right now, this is very distracting. It
I,
does not give I am a grown man running for Congress. And then what really got me is the Bitcoin.
I just saw that too. So, in you all know that politicians, they always ask for money, right? And usually you give money through a secure link on their website, or however. Um, Philip Harding also accepts Bitcoin. I don't know how that works. I'm not into cryptocurrency. I don't follow that. But that, I just feel like for a political campaign, I don't think Bitcoin would be a reliable source of funding personally. But what do I know? I'm just a graduated student.
Double degreed.
Okay,
Double degreed.
gotta get used to saying that.
Period.
But yeah, it was just Bitcoin. That's something that stuck out even when I'm going through it again. And just the overall format of his website, I'm not the biggest fan of, but I'm not on his campaign team. So, my opinion doesn't mean that
And
much.
mind you, the 7th district is Governor Spanberger's old district.
Oh,
So this
really?
is a very important. Yeah. So the incumbent Vidman is actually Governor Spanberger's successor. So this, even though this isn't like a battle district, it's still kind of like eyes are going to be on this district.
Hmm.
But honestly, is there a lot of competition? I'm genuinely asking because let's talk about Rick Smithers.
Yeah,
Where's his
so
official campaign website at?
well, first, I want to point you guys, if you want to learn more about Philip Harding, his website is philiphardingforcongress.com. So that's PHILIPHARDING for Congress.com. That's where you'll be able to find Harding's platform. But moving on to Rick Smithers. So Rick builds his campaign on emphasizing the fact that he was a blue collar worker before becoming a politician, and that lays the foundation for all of the work that he plans to go into. So some of the key issues that he focuses on and emphasizes on the homepage of his website are jobs and economy, education, and public safety. Those aren't the only things that he plans to cover. There's a variety of things: lower taxes, infrastructure, veteran service, government accountability. And one thing that was very interesting to me, and this is where my personal opinion comes in. So take it with however many grains of salt you want to. His emphasis on faith and family as well. That's something that is mentioned throughout his website and even on the homepage. I don't know if this is his slogan, his motto, or however, but it's built by hard work, led by faith.
He's a pastor and the founder of Crossroads Community Church, so that may be
That'll
his
do it.
motto.
That tracks.
But also separation of church and state.
I was just thinking
We
the
are
same
falling
thing.
into a very, very, very fast head dive into no separation of church and state, which is something that I find it kind of ironic when people say that the four founders left England for religious freedom. And that's not entirely true, but we'll get into that history lesson on a different day.
Mm-hmm.
Because we will go on tangents so bad, and we can't. We can't. Not today.
We're gonna be succinct. We're just gonna, point out what our eyes see when we go over these websites. Again, take it with however many grains of salt you want to.
And also, I'm glad that you found his official website, because when I was looking, all I found was a Facebook page.
Really?
Yeah, but I found it. It's on his Facebook page.
Oh, got you. Cool. So yeah, for more in-depth information about Rick Smithers and all of his campaign promises, his website is ricksmithersforcongress.com. So that's RICKSMITHERS for Congress.com. And then finally, the last primary candidate is Douglas. I'm going to commit and say Ollivant, and I hope that is correct. So Douglas Ollivant, he is a retired U.S. Army lieutenant colonel, and he is also a father and a husband, and he focuses on a lot of issues as well that are kind of similar to the previous primary candidates. He also emphasizes energy. Virginians, this is all per his website, Virginia families deserve affordable energy and they need reliable power to count on. He also focuses on agriculture, building a stronger future and having those strong foundations. He is pro-family, pro-worker, pro-business, and covers a variety of other things like housing affordability, lowering taxes, reducing wasteful spending, securing the border, and stopping fentanyl is a very interesting thing to include when we're in Virginia. There's no border here, but I
Is he
understand
talking
that,
about the water borders?
I guess.
But we don't even board.
I know. So that was one thing that was just very interesting because you bring up, illegal immigration, drug trafficking, critical national security issues. I guess you're gonna take those sentiments with you all the way if you even make it through all the way to that position.
I think something that candidates keep forgetting is that you're supposed to represent me at home
Right.
too, not just what everyone else is doing. Like, you're also supposed to represent me here at home.
Right. So that's something that just blared out to me as soon as I saw it. I was like, okay, focusing on illegal immigration and fentanyl killing thousands of Americans, prominent issue that he talks about. But he has a lot. One of his issues, protecting girls in sports and spaces. I really don't even have to say much about that one. I'm just going to leave that alone because there's just this is where unprofessional Trey comes in. But all of Doug, I call him Doug because he calls himself Doug on the website instead of Douglas Olivan. So I'm gonna call him Doug. Okay. So if you want to find more about his policies and kind of read in depth on how he plans to tackle these issues, you will refer to dougforvirginia.com. So that's DOUGFORVIRGINIA.com. And that is everybody for District 7 and those primaries.